This spring guide is for brand new beginners. Spring is the hardest season in the game, but generally by the time players are good enough to get to it, they don't have much trouble. There are 3 seasonal dangers. 1. Heavy rain. Heavy rain can freeze you extremely quickly, along with making you insane, making your items less effective, such as increased rotting speed on food and fuel less effective, and causing you to lose tools when you use them. You also won't dry off or warm up enough to leave a fire unless you're using rain-resistant clothing. Heavy rain can also come with constant lightning, so the world may burn down around you. Frog rain. Frog rain is absurdly dangerous. If it isn't dealt with immediately, hundreds of frogs fall from the sky. They work in groups and are extremely aggressive. Also, if a frog hits a player, it forces the first item in that player's inventory to drop on the ground. This is extremely dangerous as most players will put tools at the start of their inventory. That way they can hotkey swap or maybe a helmet. Number 3, moose goose. These are only a problem if you are based nearby to a nest location, which you can tell ahead of time by the 5 berry, 3 carrot set piece with twigs on the ground next to it. They're pretty much everywhere except the desert. Another reason I recommend you base there. Rain is pretty easy to deal with, as long as you kill deer clops. Use this eye to make an umbrella and wear it when it rains hard, and stay out of combat while it's raining hard because you don't have your trusty helmet on. The umbrella gives 100% rain resistance, lasts for 9 days, and can be repaired with the sewing kit. 100% rain resistance is the magic number. Any less and you won't be able to dry off when nearby to a fire as long as it's raining, so that's really tough. Quick, like the video and subscribe to the channel. You didn't kill deer clops? Make an umbrella and make certain to keep wearing your football helmet, as it actually gives 20% rain resistance to get you to that magical 100% along with the umbrella's 90%. This is significantly worse than the umbrella setup, as you need your primary slot to get things done, whereas the helmet is an insurance policy. You could also make a raincoat with tentacle spots. This also gives 100% rain resistance and lasts for a long time. The issue is it uses the body slot, which is generally used for a backpack to make work much more efficient, or for more experienced players, the Magiluminescence amulet, which gives a huge speed boost. Next up, frog rain. Frog rain's easy to deal with, but you gotta react fast. Either lure them to beefalo or hide in the caves. Chances are they will wipe out the herd of beefalo unless it's a huge one, but you'll get a ton of meat in the process. Hiding in the caves for a day or so is also an option to avoid the problem completely. If you don't react fast, you'll start getting attacked by them, and if you fight back, you're toast. Every frog on screen will attack you, you'll probably get stun locked and die, and once that first frog hits you, you're starting to lose items, you're just like dropping them on the ground. So say you had a lantern in that slot or something that you need to go in the caves, you have to run back and grab it now, and then you lose another item when you're trying to grab that, and it's just a horrible, horrible, vicious cycle there. Next up, we got the moose goose. Moose goose is pretty easy to deal with. If you're based in the desert, you can just pull my not bothering tactic, but if it's right next to your base, you're going to have a bad time. Also, there are usually many per spring. Every nest location has a chance to spawn one, so you could have like 15 of these, I'd imagine. Depends on the world. The moose goose herself can be called by attacking the babies if she isn't there already. Make certain you have a lightning rod placed nearby if you're planning to kill her, even if this isn't at your base due to her baby's lightning attack. Killing her is pretty simple. Dodge, hit twice, dodge. Every time you dodge, take off your primary slot item, usually a weapon, as every third attack is a primary slot disarm. Her range is fairly short, so she's pretty easy to kite. And I just take off my primary slot item every time because I usually forget when I'm fighting her. Otherwise, like I get complacent, I get kind of lazy when I'm fighting her. So if I just take it off every time, I don't lose my weapon. After killing her, her babies become enraged. They will spin at you and turn into tornadoes like the Tasmanian devil on Looney Tunes. To dodge them, group them all up, run straight away for a bit, and sidestep. Afterwards, they're stunned, so try to go in after whichever one spun last. Generally, you'll want a fresh handbat minimum for this because it's quite a bit of health to beat through. The moose goose and her moslings both drop big meat and down feather. The down feather's best use is for making the weather pane, which can be used well in a few raid boss battles. Generally, weather panes aren't worth the time it takes to make them, which is why I'll usually skip killing any moose goose, but if they're by my base, all bets are off. Gotta protect the base. Also, a few notes about spring. Plants grow faster in spring. Lure plants spawn in spring, so if you find one that hasn't sprouted yet, kill it fast and pick up its bulb. That is one of the best items for the late game, specifically when you have a wicker bottom on the team or can swap to her. That's because lure plants can gather items all on their own, and they don't just digest them immediately like mobs do in most other places, or run off and hide them or something. Beefalo will be in heat, which makes them aggressive instead of neutral. If you're based next to them, you're screwed. Don't do that. Rabbit holes are closed, so you can't use them for food. They're a very slow food source anyways, not a big deal. Use some spiders instead for some meat. Bees all turn into killer bees, so if you have bee boxes around the base, watch out. The caves will also have rain dripped on down in, and with the cave's lower temperature, it's generally not smart to venture too deep into them. Monsters in the caves are also stronger. High wetness plus stronger monsters equals you're gonna have a bad time. And that's all for this video. Like the video if you did, and subscribe.